Now, by the time heads of state leave Rwanda's capital, and that's going to happen on the 18th of July, ideally the continent should be a step closer to visa-free travel across Africa for African nationals. The establishment of an African passport issued by member states is one of the linchpins of this very ambitious plan. It's called Vision 2063. Now, it details the policies that the continent's 50-plus economies have to focus on and how they intend to achieve that. Now, the plan aims to raise, for example, the share of intra-African trade from a dismal 12%, which is what it was in 2013, closer to 45% by 2045. Over the same time frame, the continent's share of global trade should rise from a meager 2% to 12%. Trade, however, obviously needs infrastructure, and this plan also aims to have a series of high-speed rail links and air links connecting African capitals to one another, including, of course, implementing the Yamoussoukro decision. But building both trade links and infrastructure links are made that much more difficult if people can't move freely across borders, and that's where we get a serious reality check. You see, right now, visa-free travel is a reality only for about 20% of African states. You can get a visa on arrival in another quarter of African countries. But for the bulk of African states, if you want to move from point A to point B, you must get a visa. And that includes the continent's big regional economies, South Africa, Nigeria, and Egypt and Kenya, all of whom, except the East African state, are well outside the top 20 in the Visa OpenX Index. Now, in January, it was agreed that heads of state will have an African passport. In fact, that's supposed to be issued at this particular summit. But what isn't clear is the second part, exactly how fast member states will implement yet another agreement to get a 30-day visa on arrival policy for all African citizens. The thing is, though, the challenge for pretty much all of African states is how to balance this vision of a borderless Africa with domestic, political, social and economic concerns about immigration and job losses. And in some cases, that can turn very, very ugly, as seen in South Africa last year. In fact, the country's proposed revision of its immigration policy, while acknowledging the goal of visa-free travel, points out that its present policies have, and I'm quoting them here, serves to perpetuate irregular migration, which in turn leads to unacceptable levels of corruption, human rights abuse, and national security risks. The question, therefore, for South Africa and the rest of the continent as well, is how to manage these concerns while making that dream of a borderless Africa a reality.